if I told you that one of the most enigmatic figures in biblical history, a man who walked with God and was then taken, holds secrets far grander than we can imagine? Secrets that intertwine with the very fabric of divine judgment and the destiny of humanity. Would you believe me? Contrary to what many believe, Enoch's story is not merely a brief mention in Genesis. It is a foundational pillar for understanding prophecy, the unseen spiritual war, and humanity's ultimate transformation. In the annals of antiquity, amidst the lineage stretching from Adam, there emerged a figure whose life, though briefly chronicled, echoes with profound mystery and divine favor. This was Enoch, the seventh from Adam, a man whose existence in the antediluvian world set him apart, not by grand conquest or earthly dominion, but by an intimate communion with the Almighty. The sacred text of Genesis, often sparse in its personal details, offers a glimpse into Enoch's life that stands as an enigma, a whisper of a deeper truth. The world into which Enoch was born was one still reeling from the echoes of the fall, a realm where the shadow of mortality had begun to stretch long over humanity. Generations had passed, and with each passing era, the human heart seemed to drift further from its creator. Yet, in this unfolding narrative of increasing separation, Enoch walked a different path. The scripture declares, with a simplicity that belies its profound weight, that Enoch walked with God after he fathered Methuselah 300 years and had other sons and daughters. Genesis 5:22 ESV. This phrase, walked with God, is not merely a poetic flourish. It denotes a life of consistent, devoted, and intimate fellowship, a communion so deep that it transcended the ordinary bounds of human experience. To walk with God in this context implies a life lived in accordance with divine will, a journey marked by an unwavering moral compass and a spiritual sensitivity to the Creator's presence. It suggests a man who heard the divine voice, understood the divine heart, and responded with an obedience that few before or after him achieved. This walk was not a momentary burst of piety, but a sustained relationship, spanning 3 centuries, amidst a world that was steadily descending into corruption. Consider the historical context. Enoch lived in an era when the lifespan of humanity was immense, stretching for hundreds of years. His own father, Jared, lived for 962 years. His son, Methuselah, would live for 969 years, becoming the longest-lived man in biblical record, his name prophetically linked to the very coming of judgment. Within such an extended period, the potential for straying, for succumbing to the temptations and distractions of an increasingly fallen world, was immense. Yet, Enoch's path remained true. His steadfastness, his unwavering devotion, sets him as a beacon in that ancient night. The truly astonishing aspect of Enoch's story, the point that elevates it from remarkable to miraculous, is its conclusion. Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Genesis 5:24 ESV. This terse declaration reverberates through the ages, distinguishing Enoch from every other figure in the genealogies of Genesis 5, each of whom is explicitly stated to have died. Enoch did not die in the conventional sense. He was taken. This singular event, his bodily removal from the earthly plane directly into the divine presence, is echoed only once more in the Old Testament, with the prophet Elijah. It stands as a testament to the unique nature of his relationship with God, a divine affirmation of his steadfast walk. What does it mean that God took him? The ancient rabbis debated this phrase for centuries, with some suggesting a spiritual translation, while others, more commonly, understood it as a bodily assumption. The Book of Jubilees, an ancient Jewish text, offers a more descriptive, albeit apocryphal account. And he was taken from among the children of men, and we conducted him into the Garden of Eden for greatness and honor. Jubilees 4:23. While not canonical, this text reflects an early understanding of Enoch's departure as a physical translation to a blessed realm. It suggests that his removal was not an end, but a transition to a higher state of being, a reward for his unparalleled devotion. The New Testament, specifically the Epistle to the Hebrews, sheds further light on this mystery. By faith, Enoch was translated that he should not see death, and was not found, because God had translated him. For before his translation he had this testimony, that he pleased God. Hebrews 11:5 KJV. This verse confirms the miraculous nature of Enoch's departure, highlighting that he bypassed the universal decree of death that had afflicted humanity since Adam. His translation was a direct consequence of his faith, an ultimate expression of divine pleasure in his unwavering devotion. It underscores that his walk with God was not just a metaphor for piety, but a literal, tangible connection that culminated in a literal, tangible translation. But Revelation the 11th of may refer to the two witnesses as figures reminiscent of Enoch and Elijah, both of whom bypassed death, suggesting a pattern for those who will face the very end of days without tasting death. This connection, while speculative, hints at Enoch's enduring prophetic significance, his life serving as a prototype for a transformed existence, a foreshadowing of humanity's ultimate destiny. The story of Enoch, therefore, serves as more than just a historical footnote. It is a profound theological statement. It speaks of a God who actively engages with humanity, who cherishes unwavering devotion, and who has the power to transcend the very laws of nature for those who walk intimately with him. Enoch's disappearance left behind a void, a question mark in the antediluvian world, but also a glimmer of hope, a whisper that death was not the absolute end, and that a path to divine communion could lead to an existence beyond mortal comprehension. His life, so briefly described in Genesis, opens a portal to vast cosmic narratives, setting the stage for revelations that would unveil the unseen forces at play in the heavens and on the earth. Thus, the legacy of Enoch begins not with a roar, but with a silent, miraculous departure, an act of divine intervention that would forever mark him as one set apart, a precursor to mysteries far grander than the brief words of Genesis could ever convey. The disappearance of Enoch from the earthly realm, as recorded in Genesis, merely marked the end of one chapter and the beginning of a far grander, more audacious narrative, a story preserved not in the canonical scriptures, but in the ancient, often controversial, Book of Enoch. This celestial scroll, revered by some early Christian communities and meticulously preserved within the Ethiopian Orthodox Tewahedo Church, purports to contain the very visions and revelations granted to Enoch during his time in the divine, presence and beyond. It is here that the enigma of his walk with God truly unfolds, revealing a cosmic drama of fallen angels, forbidden knowledge, and the birth of monstrous offspring that reshaped the antediluvian world. The Book of Enoch introduces us to the concept of the Watchers, a class of angels specifically tasked with overseeing humanity. However, according to Enoch's account, a contingent of these Watchers, led by Semjaza and Azazel, succumbed to lust for mortal women. This event is vividly described, and it came to pass when the children of men had multiplied, that in those days were born unto them beautiful and comely daughters. And the angels, the children of the heaven, saw and lusted after them, and said to one another, Come, let us choose us wives from among the children of men, and beget, whose children, et Enoch sex, et tvo. This decision, a rebellion against divine order, marked a cataclysmic turning point in pre-flood history, extending the corruption beyond human sinfulness to angelic transgression. This narrative immediately draws a parallel to the cryptic verses in Genesis 6:1-4, which state, When man began to multiply on the face of the land and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. The Nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward when the sons of God came in to the daughters of man, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. While Genesis merely hints at the identity of these sons of God, the Book of Enoch explicitly identifies them as the fallen Watchers, offering a detailed expansion of this foundational mystery. The transgression of the Watchers was not limited to their unholy unions. Driven by their leader Azazel, they also imparted forbidden knowledge to humanity. They taught mankind the arts of metallurgy, the crafting of weapons and ornaments, cosmetics, divination, and even the secrets of herbs and incantations. Azazel taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made known to them the metals of the earth and the art of working them. And Azazel taught mankind all manner of iniquity, and taught them to know all the works of the world, and the secrets of the heavens. 1 Enoch 8:1-3. This influx of advanced, divinely forbidden knowledge did not lead to enlightenment, but to corruption and violence, accelerating humanity's descent into depravity. The earth itself groaned under the weight of this wickedness. From the unholy unions of the Watchers and human women sprang forth the Nephilim, gigantic, monstrous beings whose appetites knew no bounds. And they became pregnant, and they bare great giants whose height was 3,000 ells. And they devoured all the acquisitions of men. 1 Enoch 7:2-4. And when men could no longer sustain them, the giants turned against them and devoured mankind. 1 Enoch 7:2-4. These giants, born of both spiritual and physical realms, wrought havoc upon the earth, consuming resources, shedding innocent blood, and filling the world with violence. Their very existence was an affront to divine order, a hybrid corruption that defiled the created world. The impact of these events was catastrophic. The earth cried out to heaven, and the plight of humanity reached the ears of the Most High. The archangels Michael, Gabriel, Raphael, and Uriel witnessed the overwhelming wickedness and presented the case before God. This desperate plea for intervention set in motion a series of divine judgments. The Book of Enoch describes how God decreed the imprisonment of the fallen watchers in the depths of the earth, in dark, desolate places, awaiting a greater judgment. Azazel, in particular, was bound and cast into the darkness, his face covered, that he may not see light. The Nephilim, the giant offspring, were also condemned. Their spirits, upon their physical death, were destined to become evil spirits that would continue to plague humanity until the great day of judgment. And now the giants, who are produced from the spirit and flesh, shall be called evil spirits upon the earth, and on the earth shall be their dwelling. Evil spirits have proceeded from their bodies, because they are born from men, and from the holy watchers is their beginning and primal origin. They shall be evil spirits on earth, and evil spirits shall they be called. This provides an origin story for demonic entities that extends beyond the traditional understanding of fallen angels. The ultimate judgment for this widespread corruption, of course, was the Great Flood. While Genesis attributes the flood to humanity's pervasive wickedness, the Book of Enoch reveals the angelic transgression as a significant, perhaps even primary, catalyst for the divine decree to cleanse the earth. It was not merely human sin, but the corruption seeded by these rebellious heavenly beings and their monstrous offspring that necessitated such a cataclysmic purification. And as for the angels whom I have sent to watch over the earth, and they have not completed their task, and have given the children of men instructions of iniquity, I will bring a great destruction upon them and upon their children. The Book of Enoch, therefore, provides a cosmic backdrop to the biblical flood narrative. It transforms a story of human depravity into a grander epic of angelic rebellion, forbidden knowledge, hybrid abominations, and divine justice. It suggests that Enoch, through his visions, was granted a privileged insight into these unseen spiritual battles, understanding the true scope of the forces at play that led to the pre-flood world's destruction. His account offers a chilling explanation for the sudden escalation of violence and corruption and the urgent necessity of divine intervention. It solidifies his role not just as one who walked with God, but as a divine scribe entrusted with revealing the hidden history of the universe and the foundational reasons for God's profound judgments. This celestial scroll, therefore, dramatically expands our understanding of the spiritual war and the intricate connections between heavenly rebellion and earthly consequence. Enoch's initial walk with God, culminating in his miraculous translation, was not an end, but a doorway to an unparalleled cosmic education. The Book of Enoch meticulously chronicles his extraordinary journeys through the celestial spheres, portraying him not merely as a prophet, but as an ascended scribe. He was guided by archangels to witness the profound mysteries of creation, judgment, and the very architecture of the heavens. These visions transformed him into a repository of divine knowledge, equipping him to record the fates of both fallen angels and humanity. His ascent, according to the text, began with visions that transcended the earthly plane. He describes being carried away by clouds and winds in his vision, flying to the ends of the earth and the firmament of heaven. And I was snatched away in the vision, and I saw the heaven of heavens and the heaven of the Lord. And I entered into the house of the Most High, and I saw its foundations of crystal and its walls of fire. This initiation into the celestial realm marks him as unique among mortals, a chosen witness to the divine order. Guided by holy angels, Enoch journeyed through various heavenly chambers and cosmic landscapes. He describes traversing mountains of crystal and hail, witnessing the abysses of fire, and beholding the mighty rivers of judgment. He saw the storehouses of the winds, the foundations of the earth, and the place where the stars are gathered. Each location revealed a facet of God's immense power and meticulous design. These journeys were not just passive observations. They were immersive experiences designed to impart profound understanding. One of the most awe-inspiring revelations granted to Enoch was the vision of the dwelling places of the righteous and the damned, and the preparation for the ultimate judgment. He was shown the prisons of the fallen watchers, bound in darkness, awaiting their final sentence. And I saw there the place of the executioners and the angels who were bound there, and they were weeping and lamenting. And I asked the angel who went with me, "For what reason are these bound?" And he said unto me, "These are those who have transgressed the command of the Lord and have mingled with the daughters of men." This direct observation of angelic imprisonment served as a stark warning and a confirmation of divine justice. Enoch also witnessed the secrets of the luminaries, gaining understanding of the sun, moon, and stars, their paths, their functions, and their precise obedience to divine decree. He describes their risings and settings, their measurements, and the laws that govern their movements throughout the year. This cosmological knowledge positions him as a receiver of profound scientific and astronomical revelations, all within a spiritual framework. The accuracy and order of the cosmos served as a testament to the Creator's wisdom and power. Crucially, Enoch was brought before the very throne of God. He describes entering a house built of crystal, its roof like a path of stars, with cherubim and seraphim surrounding the divine presence. And I lifted up mine eyes and saw the great Lord sitting on the throne of his glory, and his garment was whiter than snow, and his face brighter than the sun, and his voice like the sound of many waters. In this supreme vision, he received direct instructions and prophecies concerning the future of humanity, the coming Messiah, and the final judgment. It was here that he was commissioned as a divine scribe, tasked with recording all that he had seen and heard for the benefit of future generations. The transformation of Enoch into a celestial scribe is central to his role. He was not merely a passive recipient of visions, but an active recorder, entrusted with the sacred duty of transcribing heavenly knowledge. This is where his name often becomes associated with the figure of Metatron in later mystical traditions. But even within the Book of Enoch itself, his role as the one who writes down divine decrees is prominent. He received scrolls of judgment and books of remembrance, destined to be read before the Lord. One open statement or argument from the Bible that aligns with this concept of angelic guides and heavenly ascent, though not directly mentioning Enoch, is found in the book of Revelation. When John is called, "Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this," he is immediately translated in spirit to the heavenly throne room, guided by an angelic voice to witness future events. This parallel suggests a biblical pattern for prophets receiving visions through divine ascent and angelic mediation, with Enoch being the prototype. John, like Enoch, becomes a divine scribe, tasked with recording apocalyptic visions for the church. Enoch's journey through the heavenly realms solidified his position as a unique intermediary between the divine and the human. He brought back not just warnings of judgment, but also promises of a future new creation for the righteous. He saw the Elect One, a clear messianic title, the future abode of the saints, and the ultimate restoration of a pure earth. His ascension was therefore not an escape from human concerns, but an immersion into divine knowledge that equipped him to deliver profound messages of hope and severe warnings to a world spiraling towards destruction. Thus, the ascended scribe, Enoch, returned to impart the celestial secrets, the true nature of angelic rebellion, the origins of the giants, the impending global catastrophe, and the intricate workings of the cosmos, all divinely ordained to awaken humanity to the profound realities of their Creator and the consequences of their choices. His experiences in the heavenly realms cemented his legacy as the first great revelator, a man who saw what no other mortal had seen and recorded what no other human had dared to imagine. Enoch's miraculous translation and his subsequent journeys through the celestial spheres laid the groundwork for one of the most profound and mysterious transformations in ancient religious thought, his purported metamorphosis into the Archangel Metatron. This concept, while not explicitly detailed in the canonical Bible or even the primary book of Enoch, emerges prominently in later Jewish mystical traditions, particularly in Kabbalistic texts like the Zohar and the Halakot literature. It posits that Enoch, the ascended scribe, became the highest of all angels, a celestial being second only to God, taking on a cosmic role of immense power and responsibility. The core idea behind the Metatron mystery is that Enoch, due to his unparalleled piety and unique proximity to God, was divinely elevated beyond his human form. This transformation was not merely a change in location, but a radical alteration of his very essence, granting him angelic status and unprecedented access to divine secrets. The human Enoch, having walked with God, became the celestial Enoch, a conduit of divine presence and a recorder of cosmic history. In the Halakot literature, Metatron is often referred to as the Lesser YHWH, or the Prince of the Presence, indicating a role of supreme authority and close proximity to the divine throne. He is depicted as the chief scribe of heaven, meticulously recording all deeds, both good and evil, performed by humanity. This Metatron is Enoch, son of Jared, whom the Holy One, blessed be he, removed from the world and uplifted him to the high heavens, and called him the Youth, and appointed him over all the treasuries of the world. 3 Enoch 4, Edo R. This text, also known as the Hebrew Book of Enoch, is a significant source for this tradition, presenting a highly developed angelic hierarchy with Metatron at its apex. The process of Enoch's transformation is described in breathtaking detail in some mystical accounts. He is said to have grown in stature to cosmic proportions, his body becoming filled with eyes, his flesh turning to flame, his veins to fire, his bones to juniper coals, and his eyelashes to lightning flashes. He was adorned with a crown, a garment of glory, and given 72 wings and countless eyes. This radical metamorphosis made him a terrifying yet majestic figure, radiating divine power. He was imbued with immense wisdom and understanding, exceeding that of all other angels. Metatron's primary function is multifaceted. He is depicted as the celestial scribe, recording all divine decrees, cosmic events, and human actions. This role aligns perfectly with Enoch's earlier function as the recorder of the Watcher's sins and divine judgments. He is also considered the teacher of infants who die prematurely, guiding them in the heavenly academies. Furthermore, Metatron is sometimes identified as the angel who guided the Israelites through the wilderness, appearing as the pillar of cloud and pillar of fire. This places him in a direct historical role within canonical biblical events, albeit through a mystical lens. Perhaps his most significant role is that of a mediator between God and humanity. As one who was once human, he possesses a unique understanding of both realms, allowing him to serve as an intercessor and a channel for divine communication. He stands before the divine throne, receiving instructions directly from God and conveying them to other angels and, at times, to worthy mortals. This position grants him a unique vantage point on the unfolding drama of salvation and judgment, While the explicit term Metatron does not appear in the biblical canon, the concept of a transformed human, elevated to a unique celestial role, finds subtle echoes. The figure of the angel of the Lord in the Old Testament, who often speaks with divine authority and even receives worship, has been interpreted by some Christian theologians as a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ. However, within the Jewish mystical framework, Metatron occasionally fulfills a similar role of embodying divine presence. But Revelation the 10th of May refer to an angel standing on the sea and on the land, whose mighty voice and actions bear striking resemblances to the cosmic power attributed to Metatron. This angel, with a face like the sun and feet like pillars of fire, swears by him who lives forever and ever, echoing the divine authority often associated with Metatron. While not a direct identification, the imagery and authority of this unnamed angel resonate with the mystical descriptions of Enoch's transformed self. The Metatron mystery, therefore, elevates Enoch from a mere ancient figure to a cosmic being, deeply intertwined with the very governance of the universe. It suggests that his walk with God was so profound that it led not to death, but to an ultimate apotheosis, a transformation into a divine minister of unparalleled rank. This tradition, while outside mainstream biblical theology, reveals the enduring fascination with Enoch's unique narrative and the human yearning to understand the highest mysteries of the spiritual realm. This transformation of Enoch into Metatron provides a theological bridge between the antediluvian world and the ongoing spiritual struggle. It implies that a human, by walking intimately with God, can achieve an ultimate destiny far beyond mortal comprehension, impacting the cosmic order itself. It positions Enoch as a pivotal figure, a celestial guide, and a divine scribe whose records hold the keys to understanding both past judgments and future prophecies. His story moves beyond earthbound events to touch upon the very structure of heaven, where a transformed human now stands as a testament to divine power and the potential for ultimate communion. Enoch's story, from his unique walk with God to his celestial journeys and mystical transformation into Metatron, culminates in an enduring legacy that reverberates through biblical prophecy, foreshadows ultimate judgment, and points towards the hope of a new creation. His revelations, particularly those preserved in the Book of Enoch, provide a foundational understanding for many concepts found in later canonical texts, connecting the antediluvian world to the very end of days. One of Enoch's most significant contributions is his clear prophecy of the coming judgment. Jude, in the New Testament, directly quotes from the Book of Enoch, affirming its prophetic authority. It was also about these that Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied, saying, "Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000s of his holy ones," Jude 1:14, "to execute judgment on all, and to convict all the ungodly of all their deeds of ungodliness that they have committed in such an ungodly way," Jude 1:15, "and of all the harsh things that ungodly sinners have spoken against him," Jude 1-15. This direct citation legitimizes Enoch as a true prophet whose words extend far beyond his own time, reaching into the eschatological future. Enoch's prophecies detail not only the judgment of humanity, but also the specific condemnation of the fallen watchers and their giant offspring. He foresaw their imprisonment in the abyss and their ultimate fiery destruction. This theme of divine judgment against rebellious spiritual forces is a recurring motif throughout the Bible, culminating in the final defeat of Satan and his angels. Enoch's visions provide the earliest and most detailed account of this cosmic conflict and its inevitable conclusion. Beyond judgment, Enoch's visions also speak of the coming Messiah, referred to as the Elect One and the Son of Man. He describes a figure who possesses all righteousness, before whom the wicked shall perish, and who will preside over the ultimate judgment. And at that place I saw the Elect One sitting on the throne of glory, and he judged all the works of the holy ones in the height of heaven, and he judged all the works of all the spirits. 1 Enoch 61-8. This messianic prophecy, predating many Old Testament accounts, demonstrates the continuity of God's redemptive plan from the earliest times. The Son of Man title, famously used by Jesus himself to describe his own ministry and future return, finds significant precedent and elaboration in the Book of Enoch. Enoch's understanding of the spiritual realm profoundly influenced later Jewish and early Christian demonology. His account of the Nephilim spirits becoming evil spirits provided a robust framework for understanding the source and nature of demonic activity, a concept that permeated the New Testament understanding of spiritual warfare. The struggle against principalities and powers, Ephesians 6:12, finds its ancient roots in the battle against the legacy of the fallen watchers and their progeny. Furthermore, Enoch's experiences hint at the ultimate transformation of the righteous and the promise of a new creation. His own translation, bypassing death, served as a prototype for those who will be caught up to meet the Lord. His visions of the blessed dwelling places and the restoration of a pure earth foreshadow the new heavens and new earth described in Revelation. And in those days will the earth be transformed, and the mountains and hills will be leveled, and the earth will flow with water, and there will be a new creation, and all will be well. 1 Enoch 45:5. Adapted. This vision of renewal extends beyond mere physical restoration to encompass a moral and spiritual purification, ushering in an era of peace and righteousness under the reign of the Elect One. One identified historical event that links directly to Enoch's legacy is the early church's engagement with his book. Early church fathers such as Tertullian and Irenaeus referenced the Book of Enoch, considering it to be inspired and valuable for understanding biblical narratives like the fallen angels of Genesis 6, while it eventually fell out of favor with the broader church. Its influence on theological development and its preservation within the Ethiopian canon testify to its historical impact and the perceived authority of Enoch's prophecies. The Dead Sea Scrolls also contained multiple copies of the Book of Enoch, indicating its significant standing within various Jewish communities around the time of Christ. But Revelation 21 offers a powerful parallel to Enoch's vision of a renewed earth and humanity's ultimate destiny. John describes seeing a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away. Revelation 21:1. ESV, where God dwells with humanity, and he will wipe away every tear from their eyes, and death shall be no more. Neither shall there be mourning, nor crying, nor pain any more, for the former things have passed away. Revelation 21:4 ESV. This echoes Enoch's prophecies of a transformed creation, free from the corruption and sorrow introduced by sin and angelic rebellion, where the righteous will dwell in eternal communion with God. Enoch's legacy, therefore, is multifaceted and enduring. He stands as a monumental figure who bridged the antediluvian world and the eschatological future, a witness to both the depths of spiritual depravity and the heights of divine glory. His revelations provide a crucial framework for understanding the origins of evil, the necessity of judgment, the promise of a Messiah, and the ultimate hope for a new creation. His unique journey from a mortal man to an ascended scribe and, mystically, to the celestial Metatron underscores the profound implications of walking intimately with God. His life and prophecies continue to challenge, enlighten, and inspire, reminding us that even in the most ancient of texts lie hidden secrets essential for understanding the entirety of God's unfolding plan for humanity and the cosmos. As we reflect on Enoch's journey, a journey that began with a quiet walk, ascended to celestial visions, and culminated in a cosmic transformation, we are invited to ponder the true depth of humanity's connection to the divine. His story, whispered across millennia, unveils a universe far more intricate and spiritually charged than we often perceive. It speaks of a God who actively engages with his creation, whose judgments are just and whose promises of renewal are steadfast. In the quiet solitude of his devotion, Enoch glimpsed the grand tapestry of time, from creation to consummation, leaving us with a profound legacy of prophecy and an eternal hope. In our journey through the story of Enoch, we have delved into the forgotten mysteries of biblical history, witnessing a mortal man elevated to cosmic significance. Enoch's life, stands as a powerful reminder of the strength of faith, the power of obedience, and the profound intimacy possible with the Creator. He showed us that even in a world sinking into depravity, a life aligned with God can lead to extraordinary transformation and deep revelation. We've also been shown that there is far more hidden within ancient texts than we often realize, truths essential for understanding the grand tapestry of God's judgment and the promise of a new creation. May Enoch's story inspire us to seek deeper truths and to live lives that truly please the one who took him. Thank you for listening and for joining us in uncovering these marvels. See you in the next episode, and may peace, light, and the love of God be with you always.